I know everyone always cries foul when it comes to remakes, but I would be in support of two. Can we please get a decent version of Punisher? And please, let's reboot Max Payne. Ah, yes, whether you want it or not, whether you can deal with it or not, the RoboCop remake is here at long last. Alex Murphy, who is he? He's a cop, he's a detective, he's on the trail of a criminal scumbag, he wants to bring him to justice, but what happens? Somebody tries to assassinate him by putting a bomb in his car. OmniCorp, what are they? They're a corrupt corporation that wants to make the ultimate weapon against crime and war. They want to put machines out in the streets. But the public opinion is opposed to the idea, and it's illegal to do so. So, what do they decide to do? They want to put a human in a machine to fight crime. Oh look, there's Alex Murphy. He is going beyond recognition. He is on life support. Let's put him in the machine. Oh, and now we have RoboCop. This review is for the open-minded or for anybody who's on the fence about seeing this remake. Because if you're already judging this movie already before you've seen it, if you are hating on this movie, you're not gonna like it no matter how good it is. Because to you, it's absolute blasphemy that they remade the 1987 classic. You'll never be able to let that go. And that's fine. But yeah, you're not gonna like this film just because of that notion. But if you are open-minded and you are willing to accept that just about every 80s classic will probably be remade, then, and you want to see something a little new, you want to see a new take on the story, well then guess what? You might actually enjoy this movie, because I liked it. I enjoyed it. And the original RoboCop means everything to me. I'm a child of the 80s. I grew up watching that movie at an inappropriate age, and I love that film to death, and I always will. My father is actually watching it right now. When I saw the trailers to this film, I felt a little indifferent. I didn't get excited at all, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? With today's technology, maybe this could be a new take on the story. And I'm happy to say that it does give you new ideas. It's a creative remake. It's a cool, respectable, and innovative. I don't know if innovative is the right word, but it's a pretty good remake that does not try to rehash the original. It's a very well-filmed and well-directed film. Joseph Padilla, whatever. I have not seen his Elite Squad films, but this is his first American film, and for being something that's based off of a popular property, I have to say he did a very good job. Now, obviously, it's PG-13, there's a lack of blood and gore. In fact, the movie is virtually bloodless. But you know what? I let that go a long time ago. You know, the movie is still plenty violent. It has a very big body count. There's a lot of shootouts and a lot of stunt work. So, with that being said, the action is very enjoyable. And besides, they'll more than likely have an unrated director's cut once it comes out on Blu-ray, so why worry about it? I can tell you right now, the lack of blood and gore is the least of this film's problems, and we'll get to that in a moment. The performances are pretty good. You got a great supporting cast. Samuel Jackson, of course, he's basically Sam Jackson is Sam Jackson. But I like his character. I don't necessarily like his character. He plays kind of a scumbag, political analyst, TV host, kind of like Bill O'Reilly. That is a weird comparison. His delivery is so great. It's so entertaining to see the moments when he is talking. Michael Keaton, okay? Now, I'll get to his character a little bit more into this review, but I like seeing Michael Keaton on the big screen. That is a joy in itself. And for what he was meant to do, I think he did a great job. He's a fast talker. He's quick on his feet. I liked seeing him in this movie. Let's get to the main star, Joel Kinnaman. Alright, Now, I don't think he did a bad job. I think he did pretty decent. But, you know, for being the main character, he should have been able to go above and beyond. And he doesn't seem to have a big amount of range. It's like he gets there, but he can't go past there, you know? The best actor in this film is absolutely Gary Oldman, and he happens to be the best element of this film. Let me explain that for a moment. The huge negative that this film has, and this to me was deeper than the lack of blood and gore, is the lack of a sense of humor. The original film had a lot of social commentary, a lot of social satire. This really doesn't have a big sense of humor. All that is kind of stripped away, and that's the most unfortunate part. There are some jokes here and there. Jackie Earle Haley is in this movie. He's really good as kind of like a douchey commander, and he has some really funny references to the Tin Man. So that's where the humor comes from. But for the most part, there's not a lot of humor. However, where it lacks in humor, the movie actually has heart. Gary Oldman is the heart of this film. He is the creator of RoboCop, and here's another thing that I liked. The movie expands on Alex Murphy, because in this movie he knows who he is. In the original, he died, he doesn't know who he is, and he has to struggle to regain his memory as to who he is, who he was, and who he can be. This Alex Murphy is well aware of who he is. And I kind of like that idea because he has to adjust to being this robotic character. He has to try to, you know, maintain his family life. And he has to, you know, he also has to try to solve his assassination attempt. So I think that's kind of cool. And what's really cool is that Gary Oldman is there for him. He's trying to get him through this crisis. And just Gary Oldman just does such a brilliant job of being a caring and sympathetic character. Bravo to Gary Oldman. He's the winner of this movie. And of course the other big negative. The lack of menacing villains. The lack of douchebaggery. Okay? Here's when Michael Keaton comes. Now, I loved seeing him in this movie. I thought he did a really good job. But he didn't seem like a bad guy. He seemed just like a corporate a-hole. Kind of like an asshole businessman who's kind of persuasive, but not really mean. The villainy in this movie, not just as a remake, but just as a film in itself, the villainy lacks in this film big time. All in all, the RoboCop remake is good. It's actually decent. It's not stellar. It does bring some new elements to the story. And the CGI is really good. There's not a whole lot of practical effects, but the CGI is really well done. It's a well-made film. It has a good pacing. It has good pacing. I think it has good pacing. I was never bored. And you have to understand, it is an origin story, so there is a lot of build-up. There is a lot of exposition, so you know, you gotta get that out of the way to get to the action. I am gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. RoboCop remake did a good job. I would not mind seeing a sequel. Alright, so comment down below if you've seen it, or if you want to skip it because you think it is a crime to do this type of remake. What are your thoughts on this remake? Share your most beloved memories from the original. Let's talk RoboCop. Peace. What's up?